know you know. You've seen it, experienced it, affected by it. Of course, it's hard. But this is an invitation to change it, to bounce back, to feel the inspiration. Masyado ka nang apektado para tumigil pa. Ngayon, oras na para sa mas mataas na antas ng pagbabalik at pagbabago. The hashtag Business Better Than Usual. Oo naman, aangat ka, aangat tayo. Buong Luzon, Visayas at Mindanao, kaisa sa pagbangon at pagbabago. The 58th PMAP Annual Conference. Angat, leading people to higher ground. Be the soul of change. Be the driver of encouragement. Be the fuel of moving forward. Angat, leading people to higher ground. The 58th PMAP Annual Conference. Dahil mas personal na ang trabaho ngayon.
Good afternoon, everyone. Magandang hapon po sa lahat. Good afternoon, Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao, and to all our viewers from around the world. Welcome to People Manager on Cam, the online show of the People Management Association of the Philippines, the premier organization of HR and business leaders in the country. It's summer, it's April. I hope you are all safe and healthy and you are all doing well wherever you are right now. Thank you so much for joining our fourth episode for 2021 of People Manager on Cam. And thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. My name is Jun Sescon. I am the Managing Director of LHH Philippines and one of the Board of Trustees in PMAP. I am one of your anchors for today. And for this show, we have 4 segments. We have P for People Watch, where we will highlight our peers, colleagues, the leaders in HR and business, also, of course, promising or upcoming talents and leaders in the community. And then for M, it stands for must. is our second segment where we will talk about, we will keep abreast with all the we should not miss on the big shifts or current issues that affects our daily lives. And then A for anticipate this. So things, ideas or innovations that we all need to look forward to. And then P for prick your heart. So be excited with health and wellness, tips, grooming and fashion, or leisure and habits. So that's PMAP for our show this afternoon. I want to acknowledge and introduce the committee and the people behind this online program. Of course, our President Lynn Mukhi, the COPA, and our Board of Trustees. Also, all the super masisipag na committee members of PMAP's Branding, Marketing, and Communications, our Editor-in-Chief of the People Manager magazine, Jovenir Bataican. We have our technical team helping us behind this show, Maki Cordero, Sarah Niguas, and Jeffrey Palma. Of course, our segment hosts for today are PMAP volunteers who are so generous with their time to volunteer for PMAP. They come from Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao. You will meet with them shortly. To our viewers, let us know questions or comments. Just type in the comment box and we will read that out for you. Interact with us. We would love to hear your thoughts or your questions to our guest and to everyone, even to our host. So send it to us, type in, and we would be happy to interact with you. All right, I am excited to let everyone know that I have a partner for today. Friends, let us welcome our co-host this afternoon, the editor-in-chief of our People Manager magazine online, a prolific author and speaker from PMAP Cebu chapter, Jovenir Bataican. Jov, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thank you. Thank you, Joanne. Thank you, everybody, and welcome back. It's April, and yes, we're going to have fun. And Joanne, we just had Holy Week earlier this month.
Yes.
And we still feel so spiritual and, well, maybe energized. And so this is a very apt topic, especially during these times when we turn to, somebody up there during the crisis. So it's going to be a very interesting afternoon for us. And Joanne, I think a lot of the questions will probably come from the fact that how do we differentiate spirituality and religiosity? And that's for you to answer, by the way.
That's true. That's true. So our topic this afternoon is spirituality in the workplace, and I agree with you that the two topics are sometimes interchanged, or there is a confusion. What is the relationship between religion and spirituality? I did some, some research in preparation for this show, and what I have found out is that spirituality is a very broad concept, and there can be a lot of perspectives about it. Right? What do you think about it, Joe?
Yes, that one is quite, well, especially now. Later on, we'll talk about how millennials define spirituality in the workplace. But it's an individual thing, right? It's based on your personal values and not so much organized religion. I don't know. You're the one who did the research, Joanne.
Just some reading, and what I found out is that spirituality is a sense of connection to something bigger than ourselves. So typically involves a search for meaning in life, and it talks about the whole persona or the whole being of an individual. In fact, I saw some definitions on spirituality. There's one, Christina Pulsky, I hope I am pronouncing her name right. She defines spirituality as the aspect of humanity that refers to how we individuals seek, of course, that's one, and then express meaning and purpose in how we live out our lives on a day-to-day basis. So that's how she defines spirituality. Whereas on the other hand, the religion, it's defined as the core characteristics of our guides, it incorporates somehow into spirituality, but not really that much. So those were the things that I read. They're not the same thing, but they're not entirely distinct from one another. So religion could talk about practices, the rites, the rituals. But spirituality is a meaning. How do we feel connected? How do we somehow? Those were the things I found out. What do you think about that, Joe?
Yes. And I think the fun part about religion is that the reception follows afterwards, especially if you do the weddings and everything else. That's quite impactful for me. So, Joanne, my question is, are you religious or are you spiritual?
I would like to say I am more spiritual. I hope I am.
Okay. Well, for me, I'm God fearing. That probably explains why I don't go to church that much. I fear God. But on the brighter side, I think let's probably bring in before I say something else. Let's bring in our first segment.
Okay.
Are we ready?
We are ready. Thank you so
Okay.
much, Rob. Go ahead. Yes.
People watch. Very interesting, because I know that there are a lot of organizations right now that are, well, they're geared towards religion. In fact, some companies have their own chapels and they do their, usual rituals, weekenders and everything, the first Friday of the month or every Friday thereafter. Then after, the question is, since it's the Philippines, I'm not sure if I got the statistics right. It's 80% Catholics or Christians, or more than that probably. So what if you're not? What if you don't practice Catholicism or you're a non-Christian? How do you blend in? Ladies and gentlemen, our first topic for this afternoon is, how do organizations harmonize religious diversity? Please welcome our segment host. She's the director of Lee Heck Harrison, Cecil Ramos Carlos. Good afternoon, Cecil. Well, Cecil will walk you through the topic, and she has a very special guest which she's about to introduce to you. Go, Cecil.
Good afternoon, Job. Thank you, and thank you, Joanne, as well. To our guests who always join us here in PMAP on Magazine on Cam, hi again. And to those who just joined us today, hi and welcome. I'm Cecile Ramos Carlos, and I'm here to discuss with you today harmonizing diverse religions in the workplace. And with me is a very an honored guest, Attorney Manny Casino. Attorney Manuel Pagdanganan Casino is the VP and Head of Advocacy Division, Corporate and Legal Services of the Globe Telecom Incorporated. And he is also a professor in the College of Law in San Beda University and a guest lecturer at Bulacan State University in Malolos, Bulacan. I'd like to introduce you all to Attorney Manny Casino.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for having me here.
Good afternoon, Attorney Manny.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much for joining us today. So earlier, Joe and Job are talking about spirituality and religion. So I'll just dive in. You know, Attorney Manny is an atheist. Attorney Manny, I'm very actually curious about what this means. To my understanding, it's a religion? Am I correct?
No, it's not. We just what do you call this? It's not a belief system. We just don't believe in the existence of any God, and we reject
Alright.
any and all claims of any and all gods until and unless they appear.
All right. So this is what it means. I think earlier they were trying to explain religiosity and spirituality.
Yes.
A religion is a more organized, a more structured, I think,
Yes.
way of practicing your faith. So, in fact, atheism is a matter of spirituality, a matter of belief. Am I correct?
No. Well, I think for some who are not or who do not belong in our group, maybe they say that some of the atheists or even agnostics or free thinkers are spiritual. But personally, no, I don't subscribe to that.
Ah,
I don't
okay.
believe
So
in any soul.
neither.
I just believe in humanity. I have more faith in humanity than in any other supernatural being.
I see, I see. So neither a religion or a spirituality
It is not.
for
It's
you.
not. It is not.
Yes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So since when were you an atheist, Attorney Man?
Oh, I got out of my religious bearings when I was still at the UST, third year, I think, pre-law course. Third year.
I see,
Yeah,
I
as
see.
third year.
Mhm. And can you tell us what are your experiences as an atheist, what are your experiences at work? Because
At work.
we're talking about harmonizing, diverse beliefs, religious beliefs, spirituality at work. So can you tell us about any experiences that relates to your belief at work?
Well, in my division alone, which consists of about 30 Globe employees, most, if not all of them except me, are religious. They belong to the Holy Roman Catholic Church, Iglesia ni Cristo, I think, and Jehovah's Witness, and one Muslim. Okay, now.
Wow, how diverse.
Yeah, how do I deal with them? Well, I just let them be, for as long as their religious beliefs and practices do not interfere with their work as well as their productivity. It's fine. I'm fine with that. As a matter of fact, I encourage them to participate in their rituals and ceremonies. And in Globe, we have this First Friday Mass every month, held at the in the basement of our building. Tapos meron din yung Ash Wednesday. Bawal na po kasi discrimination on account of religion and or culture or ethnic background is already prohibited even under our labor code.
Yes,
Yeah.
attorney. And so, as you're saying, in Globe, these are some of the practices. Do they also have like celebrations of, say, Adil Fitr?
Yes.
Meron bang ceremonies as well?
No, it is not. These festivities are not oftentimes sponsored by Globe. Okay, wala po yun eh. It's an individual thing.
I see.
The
But
same thing
it is allowed. It is allowed to celebrate your own
Yes,
faith.
they're allowed. Yes.
Attorney Manny, maybe you have in your vast experience at work, you can share with us some best practices that you have seen in how to harmonize religion in the workplace.
Well, that is quite a tricky question, but because
Yung mga nakita mong like for example in San Beda, do they have San Beda is a Catholic
yes,
university. So what are
Yes.
the things that they do to ensure that there's inclusivity sa religions and beliefs?
well, San Beda has already started accepting students from different religious backgrounds. As a matter of fact, there are a lot of Muslim students there in San Beda. And, the administration does not interfere. For
I
as long as
see.
you study, the same thing is true with Globe. For as long as you work and you produce, that's it.
Nako, attorney, it's such a pleasure talking to you. I have so many other questions, but I'd also want to give our participants, our audience, the chance to ask them questions. So may I encourage people to just write down your questions here in the chat box in case you have any questions for Attorney Manny.
I hope there are none.
Kung wala, attorney, then I can ask you some more questions.
Sure.
So
Wag lang po mahirap.
hindi naman. I'm just thinking how exciting, no? Your group in Globe, iba-iba talaga kayong religion.
Yes.
Are there times when this is brought up? You are asked, Tony Manny, bakit ba ganyan yung belief mo? Diba? Ako kasi, I believe na ganito, ganyan.
We only discuss those siguro pag inuman na. But we seldom do that while we are at work. During break time, perhaps. And most of my colleagues always ask me that. Bakit ka nagaganyan? Since when have you been like that? It just happened to me, that my mind has already been opened and I don't want to be, restricted by any belief, either superstitious or not, or religious. That's it.
Yes.
And then they respect me in the same vein that I also respect them again, for as long as their beliefs and practices do not interfere with their work, we are fine. As a matter of fact, that's part of Globe's policy to enhance this work-life balance, ma'am. It's part of that.
I see. So, at work, it's parang hindi na pinag-uusapan na lang, no?
Hindi
Ah,
naman. Kung meron
Oo.
man, it's very, very seldom. Once in a blue moon, ika nga.
Oo.
And
So,
sometimes the discussion would be just a banter or, parang biro-biro na lang. But nothing serious. Like makipagdebate ka, they would open their Bible and, I have my science books, etc. You don't do that.
oh, it's actually very commendable for organizations to be doing this because I know a lot of organizations who, because say the owners are Christians, they would now want all people in the organization to convert
Christians.
or, di ba, parang nag-evangelize sila. And this makes it uncomfortable for the other people,
Yes.
di ba? They are forced to do that. Okay naman kung talagang gusto nila. Like you said, your
Yeah.
mind just open to this and you realize this is what I believe in,
Yes.
right? Mhm. Again, thank you, Attorney Manny. It's so
Thank you,
good.
ma'am.
Thank you, Attorney Manny Casino, for your time. It has been fun talking to you today.
Thank you.
And I'll talk to you again some more.
Yeah.
I'd like to, Job, return the ball to you.
Thank you. Thank you. And Attorney Manny, thank you so much for sharing. I know, Cecil, this one is going to be so sensitive. In fact, my own son. We talk about my own son. He's 18 and he's in a Catholic school. And he told me recently that he's leaning towards atheism. And I think that's fine. For as long as a person actually abides by the universal laws, of course, of being taking care of others, kind of doing your job as just as we should be and we should be doing. And I think there's nothing wrong with that. So, and I think the profile of organizations in the Philippines is that we're increasingly getting more diverse and we're more open to that. So I think we're in good hands as far as that is concerned. And Attorney Manny, maybe one of these days when you're drinking and then talking about it, maybe I can join, if I can fly to Manila and just chat with you. So where's my partner, Miss Joanne?
Hi, Job, and hi, Cecil. Yes.
Buy one, take one. I'm also here.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That was really fun in terms of the insights that Sir Manny said, considering he attended a Catholic school and then he went to other organizations. So that was enlightening.
Yes,
Yes.
actually. And I think the faith in humanity that he mentioned, I think that is spirituality. I guess that his sense of connectedness and meaning in humanity, that's a spirituality, right? So, but of course, as Attorney Manny has mentioned, if correct me if I'm wrong, from what I got from him or what I heard from him is that he does not believe in a being or a higher being. That's how I somehow I understood it. But he do believe in humanity. So, and I think that spirituality, which is really, especially if you're a leader. So, and during this time of crisis, right? So that faith in humanity would really bring hope as well. So I would say that that is a big factor when we are working in organizations, especially during crisis like this one.
Thank you.
Joanne,
Yeah.
earlier also, Attorney Manny was pointing out how it's fine, whatever your religion is, as long as you're doing your work well or you're doing good. I, in fact, have another very good friend who is also an atheist. But the thing is, this person, being an atheist, is such a good person, right? So sometimes our worth or our strength of character, our being good cannot be measured by our religion, right? And it's always at work. It's always a good practice to ensure that everything is doing well. Your workforce is happy and they're all productive. Is to be inclusive really and make sure that everyone feels comfortable while they are working and safe from persecution while at work.
Well, thank you, sisters Joanne and Cecily.
Thank you, bro.
Yeah, thank you. I think it's what is the mandate for everybody is that we don't have to really like each other. We don't even have to love each other at work, but we have to respect each other. And I think that we're there for a purpose, so we should not just focus on the side that we have to have tasks to do, we have goals to accomplish, and the rest bonuses how we interact with each other. I'm excited now with our next segment, Ms. Joanne.
That's very true, Job and Cecile. So the next segment will really now talk about, because we were just talking about, how different we are, but we have to respect each other. This time we will go to our next segment, the must, where we will talk about spirituality and religiosity at work. How inclusive can you go? To lead us in this discussion, I introduce our next segment host, the People and Culture Director of Expressions Stationery Shop Incorporated, Miss Joan Chong. Joan?
Hi. Good afternoon, Miss Joanne. Thank you. And good afternoon, everyone. In this month's segment of Musts, we talk about spirituality in the workplace and how inclusive can we go. Our guest for this segment is a past president of our beloved PMAC, and with close to 30 years of experience as an HR leader, she continues to develop her passion around people leadership, culture transformation, and talent revolution. As the regional HR director for Asia Pacific at Dexcom, she is on a journey to build a thriving organization through people who are inspired by a purpose to make others live their best lives. Purpose, passion, and reason are the three things that keep her awake at night. Let us all welcome Miss Michelle Cordero Garcia.
Hi, Joan. Good afternoon, everybody. Magandang hapon po sa lahat ng PMAppers. I'm very happy to be here.
Thank you for joining us, Miss Michelle.
My pleasure.
Yeah. In this episode, no, we zoom in on spirituality in the workplace. But before
Mhm.
we go there, can you share with us first about Dexcom and how diverse are you as a company?
Dexcom is a US-based organization now becoming global. We are actually into a glucose monitoring technology. We are a
Mhm.
biotech medical device manufacturing company. Our mission as an organization is to empower people with diabetes to live their better lives. So that is our organization. And I would say we're very, very diverse in the
Mhm.
sense that, we give respect to everybody's background and we don't bias or discriminate people based on their own preferences. We work as one team, we work as one organization, focusing on everybody's strengths and how they can contribute to the team.
That's very good to hear. So a
Mm-hmm.
while ago in the topic earlier, they talked about the differences between spirituality and
Mm,
religiosity, and
yes.
that I'm sure, like in any company, there are many different religions, many different beliefs.
Yep.
Now, for Dexcom, given that people or your associates come from different backgrounds, no, does this difference in belief affect employee interactions in any way?
Um, Affect in the sense na I would say very positive because people celebrate
Mm-hmm.
diversity at Dexcom. So
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the more different we are from one another, the better because we do
Mm-hmm.
recognize the importance of everybody's unique background and how they can contribute to the organization. But in terms of, asking people about what your religious background, what is your ethnicity and things like that, we don't talk about it. In fact, even in
Mm-hmm.
our application forms or even in our systems, we don't ask about it because for us, it doesn't matter, right? It doesn't
All
matter
right.
whatever is your background, whatever is your religious preference. It's okay
Mm-hmm.
for as long as you contribute to the purpose of the organization, you do the right
Mm-hmm.
things, and you respect
Okay.
one another. Then we're all good.
Right. You know, in a lot of organizations as well, no, diba, spirituality is part of the different dimensions of
Yeah.
wellness, along with
Mm-hmm.
physical, mental, diba, emotional. No, does Dexcom have programs to encourage spirituality?
We have a lot of programs, but we don't really call them like we have a spirituality in the workplace type of initiative. Now, if we
Uh-huh.
actually go and research about it, diba, workplace spirituality usually is defined as, having compassion towards others or experiencing a
Yeah.
mindful inner consciousness in the pursuit of
Uh-huh.
meaningful work. In simple terms, it's all about finding meaning. It's all about finding value and finding motivation in one's work beyond our
Mm-hmm.
salaries and beyond the performance that we do in the organization. Spirituality, I think, is all about people finding a sense of purpose, a sense of
Mm-hmm.
oneness and togetherness in an organization as a whole. So in our organization, Dexcom, we are very focused on our purpose. And that is, again, to empower our patients, take control of diabetes and make sure that even they have the condition that they can still live their best lives. That mission that we have in the organization is our anchor at the moment. In fact, since the pandemic, syempre very emotional, di ba, Joan? Very challenging. People
Yeah.
are, ang dami nilang iniisip and sometimes their family get affected. And, we've also
Right.
experienced that our employees are very much troubled and bothered by everything that's happening. But one thing that we keep on communicating inside the
Mm-hmm.
organization is how our work is actually giving meaning to every day that we live during this pandemic. How
Mm-hmm.
through the work that we do, we're able to actually help others. I remember in one of our parang welcome to our new employees last year, we talked about unconditional love. And we
Mm-hmm.
said, ang swerte natin sa Dexcom, no? Because we get to help diabetic patients na hindi naman natin kilala. We don't know them, they're actually situated in different countries, but we take
Mm-hmm.
their calls. We help them. We help them use the technology. We help them use the gadget. We sometimes, depende sa gravity of their situation, we actually help save their lives. And we tell our employees na where can you find that kind of work, 'di ba? I'm sure may iba't iba, but in our case we just feel so blessed that we are given the
Right.
opportunity to do that kind of work and to show unconditional love because you're helping somebody you do not know and saving their
Right.
lives. And for
That's so
me, if that
fulfilling.
is it is very
Yeah.
fulfilling. And if that is finding meaning and finding value, then to me, that's
Mm-hmm.
spirituality. And we don't need to talk
Mm-hmm.
about it like, oh, ito is spirituality in the workplace to, ganyan. Parang
Yeah.
hindi. Parang it's something that you feel and it's something that
Okay.
you use to energize and motivate yourself and inspire people around you.
Uh-huh. No, given that, no, kasi it's such a very strong intrinsic motivation, no, to do
True.
good, to be good. It makes you really feel good also afterwards,
Mm-hmm.
no, like an act of altruism. Um,
Mm.
Saan nanggagaling? Like, how do you equip your employees also to have this mindset, to have this parang bala, so to speak, para they can
Mm.
also give out this kind of unconditional love to people that they don't even know.
Sa amin consistent, honest communication.
Mm-hmm.
Consistently and constantly talking about our purpose in the organization.
Mm-hmm.
We also
Okay.
have programs that allows us to communicate the blessings, especially the last 12, 14 months, di ba?
Mm-hmm.
I think our organization, we're blessed because instead of reducing employees, we actually set up another site in Cebu. Right during
Wow.
pandemic, we
Mm-hmm.
actually hired about 500 employees that we've never met face to face, and now they're here, being
Mm-hmm.
participating in the accomplishment of our mission. So may constant journey of making people appreciate the blessings no matter how small. So that's one. Uh, yun yung mga typical activities like your town halls, your meetings with the team.
Mm-hmm.
It's always injected with conversations around again the purpose. And
Mm-hmm.
we observe that people when they are reminded that there's actually a better and a bigger source of fulfillment, somehow they nare-energize sila. But of course,
Mhm.
as an organization, you need to complement and support those with other programs. And, we
Yeah.
also have formal programs, like we have formal programs on talent development, employee
Mhm.
engagement, and also diversity, equity, and inclusion. In fact, one of the new things that we just launched Q1 this year is our employee resource groups. So these are
Okay.
like my interest groups, so that's existing. Those are like your hobbies. This year,
Mhm.
we launched our employee resource groups. So these are people that, if you are, for example, we have a group, they're called people who are supporting relatives with Tourette syndrome. So
Okay.
they group together. We have the faith group. So ito naman yung iba-iba sila ng faith or religion, but they group themselves
Mhm.
together because they want to understand and learn from one another and appreciate one
Oh,
another.
wow.
Meron din kaming group who is actually into LGBT, right? So meron din kaming bago na group. It's all about our employees taking good care of their elderly parents or relatives. So
Mhm.
all of those things, we allow our employees to be who they are, because the goal
Okay.
is you need to be comfortable. You need to feel psychologically safe to be who
All
you
right.
are, to be 100% you when you go to the office, regardless of your religious background, regardless of your family background, regardless of the uniqueness that you have. In fact, we celebrate that.
Mhm. It's so beautiful. So
Mhm.
yung diverse, you call it diverse equity,
Diversity, equity, and
diversity.
inclusion. Yes.
Okay. So itong program na to, this was set up by Dexcom, and then how did you form like subgroups? Yung mga ano na yun, like LGBT, religious. Is
Mm-mm.
it initiated by employees?
Yes, they are. In fact, the DNI, it's really not a concept introduced by Dexcom. I think many
Okay.
companies are already doing it. In fact, I think in one of the PMAP sessions this week also, I heard a talk about diversity, equity, and inclusion. And yung mga employee
Mm-hmm.
resource groups, really, it's employee initiated. We also have a
Okay.
diversity council. So the Diversity
Uh-huh.
Council is the group of leaders who talk about how can we further the diversity in the organization. And
Mm-hmm.
maybe people are asking, sandali, spirituality, religiosity, but napunta sa diversity? I guess the meaning of this all is, nowadays, it doesn't matter kung ano yung religion that you believe in or you're a part of.
Right.
What's important is there's respect, there's acceptance,
Mm-hmm.
people embrace you for who you are. And again, sabi nga kanina, di ba ni Atty. Manny, for as long as you do your work, and if I may
Right.
add, for as long as you do good and you are kind to the people around you, then that's fine. Perfectly okay.
Wow. As long as, di ba, may mutual respect also, di ba?
Yeah.
Like, it
Mm,
has to be a common respect among on all the diversity, no?
correct. Yep. True.
Kasi
True.
it's given the number of diverse, the different kinds of employees we have, not just in
Mm,
terms of religion, beliefs, no? It's
yeah.
difficult really to establish harmony if wala talagang respect.
Mm. And if you look at it, June, 'di ba? Every religion, ang lagi lang naman tinuturo ng bawat reliyon is maging mabuting tao ka, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maging
Yeah.
mabuti ka sa kapwa mo, tumulong ka, share your blessings, be kind,
Mm-hmm.
right? So,
Yeah.
again, for me, I think that is the center of everything. We don't
Mm-hmm.
need to talk about sang religious affiliation tayo galing. But if we are
Right.
always doing the right thing, the good thing, and the kind thing, then that's
Mm-hmm.
it. We're neutral and we're the same.
Yeah. Um, Getting from that, you have a lot of different kinds of
Mm.
religion. No,
Mm.
I'm sure that since you're also a BPO, no, you have certain days that do not allow for that downtime. How do you treat
Mm.
religious
Yes.
holidays like Holy Week, di ba?
O,
Christmas, Ramadan?
oo. Feeling ko siguro nung mga unang panahon, unang panahon ng BPO industry, may ganyan
Uh-huh.
siguro perception. But the
Okay.
BPO industry here in the Philippines is now very, very mature. We have a lot
Mm-hmm.
of BPO companies who are actually doing a lot of best practices na minsan hindi lang naikikwento sa industry but they're doing a lot. Now, in our
Mhm.
case, for example, hindi na totoo na oy, because we are required to be 100% present all the time. Sometimes our employees miss important gatherings. Not anymore
Uh-huh.
because we have workforce technology, workforce management technology that allows us to schedule and allows us to, rotate some of the shift
Mhm.
schedules. In fact, in our case, our agents can even swap schedules. They can choose their own shift schedules. They can also choose depending on kailan mataas yung calls, then that's the time that they will go to work and things like that. So it's empowerment. It's allowing people, giving people transparency and visibility to what's coming, volume of work.
Mhm.
It's giving people access to technology. That's the systems that we have. And again, empowering people to make those decisions. And that is, letting our employees choose the shift that they prefer and choose the shift that they want.
Nice. So it's very ano talaga no, very open, and I like that they have a choice. Like, you're really
Mm-mm.
giving your
Yep.
employees the power,
Oo.
and it's nice na inclusive din talaga yung ano natin, yung environment.
Oh, and I think, the past 14 months, 'di ba, a lot
Mhm.
of yung mga religious programs, ceremonies, masses,
Mhm.
virtual, right? So
Right.
somehow it gives our people an added option to manage their time. So nakatulong 'yun
Mhm.
kasi they can also now do the responsibilities that they need to do according to their religious affiliations and backgrounds.
Mhm.
Mm.
Miss Michelle, given that, di ba, during this ECQ period, maraming nagiging stressed, and there's also
Mm.
this rise in mental wellness, mental
Yes.
awareness. How
Mhm.
do you think spirituality, well, do you think spirituality will help address yung mga concerns on this aspect?
Ako, if not address the concerns, manage the people's emotions as they go
Mm-hmm.
through the challenges. Spirituality kasi I think is very very connected to being mindful. So
Mm-hmm.
mindfulness is all about being aware, 'di ba? As an individual, awareness yan na paano mo bang hinahandle yung mga challenges? What is the good that you see behind the challenges? Ano yung mga silver
Yeah.
lining? How do you see, di ba yun yung sinasabi nila na, okay, count your blessings no matter how
Mm-hmm.
small, look at the
Mm-hmm.
cup half full, not half empty, be
Right.
optimistic, be hopeful. Yung mga yon I think as element of spirituality. And if the organization is able to remind people to have that kind of mindset and attitude, tas dagdagan pa natin yung lagi nating pinapaalala sa kanila na, "Why bakit nga ba tayo nagtatrabaho? Is it because of salary? Is it because of performance? Or is it because our organization has a purpose?" And in our case, again, it's all about empowering people with diabetes, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, nakakatulong yun kasi somehow yung kanilang pag-iisip or yung mindset nila is being directed towards looking at the positive and the beautiful side of things.
Mm-hmm. Like for some companies naman, what if there are other companies that want to inject this sense
Mm,
of purpose
mm.
or spirituality in
Yep.
their workplace? Because there are other companies also na hindi pa sila masyadong structured, right?
Mhm. Yep.
There are like especially yung mga smaller companies, like how do they start? Is it a
Mm.
formal thing that they have to do, or like any um, program na lang, or any initiative
Oo.
can already count for that
Ex
spirituality?
if you are an OD, practitioner, organization
Mm-hmm.
development, of course may mga interventions to do that
Mm-hmm.
formally. But you are correct, June. And not all organizations would have access to that kind of resources, or not all organizations would be big enough, diba, to go through that kind of process. A lot
Mm-hmm.
of us are actually into small, sometimes micro businesses. Others are even family-owned organizations, which is also different, diba? Ako ang
Right.
lagi kong na-observe because, in my many years of experience, naging part ako ng family corporation, naging part ako ng local organization, multinational,
Mhm.
regional. Isa lang yung nakikita ko na very, very common. Even if the organization doesn't have a formal program to talk about the purpose of the
Mhm.
organization, um, yung authenticity ng leaders, how
Okay.
leaders communicate to their employees, how leaders help their employees go through challenging times, how leaders address workplace issues with their employees kapag medyo merong hindi malinaw or hindi pagkakaunawaan. It matters a lot. And sometimes, it makes me wonder na parang, yun bang behavior ng leader uh, dictates the culture? And yung bang ganong klase ng culture, does it actually equate to spirituality or an organization that is actually very, very mindful of
Mhm.
one another? 'Di ba sabi nila in this time of pandemic, leaders should have three things, 'di ba? Lead with a vision, lead with direction, and lead with compassion. At yung
Mhm.
huli, leading with compassion, I think, is the same as leading,
The
spirituality in the
spiritual.
workplace.
Yeah.
Yes. So sa akin siguro, if walang formal interventions to communicate or translate the purpose,
Mhm.
just be authentic, be compassionate, and always do the right thing and the good thing for your people.
Oh, I'm sure the employees will appreciate that as well, 'di ba? Kasi
Mm.
everyone knows kung ano naman yung sincere versus yung pretend lang, 'di ba?
Correct.
Parang just for show.
And especially nowadays, and again, I know a lot of our colleagues in PMAP.
Mhm.
Ano kasi tayo eh, we're a professional organization and we have this
Yeah.
discipline talaga of using uh, frameworks and interventions and tools, and that's
Mhm.
perfectly okay. That actually makes us very, very good at what we do. But nowadays, kahit ako minsan nagre-reflect eh, no amount of structured intervention um, will make it work if the employees doesn't feel that you care for them. Kasi iba yung
Mhm.
pinagdadaanan natin ngayon. People are
Yeah.
going through so much. In fact, I was just talking about uh, the new workplace, right? Before,
Mhm.
sabi natin, everything that happens inside the organization is the responsibility of the organization, and everything that happens outside
Yeah.
it is the employee's responsibility. Pero paano
Mhm.
na yun ngayon? We're all working from home. And therefore, the home becomes your organization, becomes your
Yeah.
workplace. Right? Hindi mo, ang hirap mo nga yung i-separate yung trabaho sa personal because everything is happening all at the same time, in the same space, in the same location. And
Mhm.
therefore, tayo as organizations, we need to again be very, very mindful that our people are actually now integrating, di ba? Life at home and life working, right? And that actually
Yes.
makes our responsibilities bigger kasi tayo, iba pa yung working in a Filipino home, right?
Mhm.
We have to remember that inside a Filipino home, nandiyan yung magulang mo, nandiyan yung asawa mo,
Right.
nandiyan yung mga anak mo, extended family
Magluluto
tayo,
ka pa.
and luluto ka pa, di ba? Ang dami, di ba? And you cannot say to the employees, I don't care. Ikaw lang ang empleyado namin, we will only care
Right.
about that won't work, right?
Uh-huh.
So again, I think this pandemic has actually redefined and forcing us to revisit, examine the way we lead our people and the way we
Mhm.
make our people become mindful and the way we make our leaders think about how can you lead with a vision, direction, and at the same time compassion. And again, for me, that's spirituality in the workplace.
Mhm. Thank you, Miss Michelle. Di ba, like in the current scenario nga, no, did you notice that most of the companies also have really um extended more leeway, no? Hindi sila
Mm,
mas masyadong strict. Like
yes,
they give leeway na, okay, sige, we know na during this time you have responsibilities, like sometimes may online schooling yung kids, 'di ba? Minsan
yep,
nagiging mas understanding yung companies, no, rather than before very strict, or dati talagang attendance based, dapat 8 o'clock you're
mm,
at work already, but right
mm,
now nag-shift din no, into more outcomes based rather than
correct.
time based.
Correct.
right?
Correct. And that is, I think, the new reality. Honestly, I don't think we will go back 100% to the way we were before the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
In fact,
Mm-hmm.
nowadays, in my organization, we've already started to talk about the new workplace modes, right?
Okay.
We are already anticipating that when it is already safe and okay to
Mm-hmm.
go back on site, likely not everybody will go back on site because we've
Right.
already seen that some work can actually be delivered better or the same level
Right.
of performance when done in the office. And ang dami rin namang benefits working from home. Some of our
Right.
employees really appreciate the extra time na instead of spending it on commute, you get to
Mm-hmm. That's
spend it
true.
doing your hobbies or more time with the family or more me time,
Mm-hmm.
or self-development time, right? So we listen and we do recognize, and we again, as an organization, open to try and see how we can blend that in the new workplace that we will soon be having as soon as everything is okay. So yun yung talagang naiba. And again, sabi ko nga, para tayong ni-reset, di ba? And right now, we are in the process of examining our values, examining our mission, examining what kind of leaders we are, examining if the things we're doing are right, and if this is, the good thing to do. And lahat yon, I think, again, derives spirituality um, in us as leaders and as an organization.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Miss Michelle, at this point, I just
Mhm.
have some questions
Sure.
sent in to us,
Mhm.
no? So, what is the impact of DI on engagement of our employees and the business?
Hmm. Ang laki, 'di ba? Because engagement is such a big, big thing. And if
Mm-hmm.
you are the organization who actually embraces uniqueness and people being very, very special, then likely you will
Mm-hmm.
have varied programs that will help engage employees in your organization and even enable them, right? So basta you have that kind of culture, I think the possibilities are endless. And dahil nga siya endless and dahil ang dami-dami niya, in my observation, parang natural tendency is to empower people. In our case, for example, a lot of our yung mga interest groups, engagement programs, diversity, equity, inclusion, they're not handled by HR. We actually formed employee representatives or minsan
Right.
ibang department will let them handle it, will let them run it. As HR, ang role namin is just to make sure everything is aligned, that it is
Mm-hmm.
aligned to our values as an organization. And of course, provide support, budget, we give them budget. Or sometimes we equip them, di ba, with the competencies and skills. Like, for example, we realized project management is a very important skill for anyone who is doing employee engagement. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Things like that. So, support yung HR, and we actually empower people kasi nga very diverse. And therefore, we cannot just, centralize everything in one department.
And it's nice also because instead of just focusing the work in human resources, parang nagkaroon ka ng extra hands, extra minds, no? Who do
Oo.
it for you.
Oo. And again, 'di ba, going back to spirituality or religiosity, 'di ba,
Mm-mm.
yun din naman yung teachings. Yun din naman
Mm-hmm.
yung tinuturo sa atin that we have to work as one. We are one
Yeah.
community, and we need to give people equal opportunities to contribute.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
We have another question. So thank you guys for your questions. Keep them coming. Okay, so here it goes. How do we deal with leaders who publicly pronounce support for the people, but whose actions are the opposite? Medyo mahirap
Okay.
yata to ha. Mm.
Ah, depende sa culture. Like, for
Okay.
example, if the culture in your organization does not tolerate this kind of behavior,
Mm.
then unlikely that leaders in your organizations would behave this way. However, kung may nakakalusot, because people are very, very aware of the culture, then I think having candid conversations is
Mm-hmm.
part of the culture. And therefore, this leader who is actually acting opposite what the organization is promoting will likely receive feedback either from their own employees or from their peers or from their leaders, right? Uh,
Mhm.
sa akin kasi, an organization who is truly and sincerely protecting the culture that they have would always embrace and promote honest conversations and open feedback
Right.
systems, right? Kasi yun din naman
Mhm.
yung way mo to be reminded. Like for example, ako, not perfect, 'di ba? Tao tayo eh. Minsan
Mhm.
we're under stress, minsan may problema, may
Yes.
pinagdadaanan, and sometimes we forget na, uy, hindi pala dapat ganun, 'di ba? But
Right.
when people give you feedback and when the organization makes it safe for people to give feedback, then it's like you're supporting one another kasi pinapaalala mo kung ano yung tamang gawin. And I think that's a
Mhm.
beautiful.
Thank you so much, Miss Michelle. We're almost out of time, so maybe can you give us like tips on how else can we have this spirituality in the workplace? How else can we promote this in our people?
Ako siguro ano lang, it's really more of, in this time of uncertainty and in this
Mhm.
time of, very, very challenging environment, it's very important for us to do and find meaning in our work. It's very important for us to connect ourselves to a greater purpose, regardless of
Mhm.
our religious background, diba? It's very
Right.
important for us to sincerely take good care of one another. Hindi lang yung subordinates natin, hindi lang yung
Mhm.
customers natin, but really one another. And engage in very honest, authentic, and sincere conversations. I think
Mhm.
this pandemic that we continue to experience is a moment that matter not only in the history, di ba? But this is a moment that matter in humanity, and how we drive and how we manage this will define how the future of work will be for all of us. And I hope we will aim not to have religious or spiritual workplaces, but let's just have this goal and innate aim for us to give our employees great life experience through the work that they do by being good and being kind towards one another.
That's beautiful, Miss Michelle. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you to
And
Joan, and yeah, stay
as
safe.
always, I enjoy speaking with you. Thank you. Now back to you, Miss Joanne and Sir Joe.
Yeah, I'm trying to put together myself. Medyo naging teary-eyed ako dun sa message
Yeah.
ni Michelle. I always love having conversations with Michelle or listening to her talks and all that. Thank you so much, Michelle, for the insights. Grabe, I learned a lot from you. Um,
Yes.
how about you, Joe?
Lalim
What
eh.
are
I'll be speechless up until the end of the whole show. So
Actually, actually, yeah. I love what she said about leading with compassion and the
yes.
unconditional love. There's just ang daming away these days, diba? Some lose their life
Mhm.
because just because they have different beliefs. And it's
Right.
just so sad. I think we are seeing that everywhere, social media, in the news. And yung sinabi niya, I think not only leading, but leaving with compassion, right? That's really something.
Mhm.
What are your thoughts, Anna Joan?
Yes,
Well,
Sister
I
Joy.
really like what Miss Michelle shared. Very human, no? Lahat ng yung mga sharing niya, it really touches on the on us as a human being and how we give back, how we share, how we are siguro ano rin, borrowing rin medyo uso ngayon, vulnerability, how we are transparent and honest in really giving ourselves and in sharing ourselves with others. So spirituality is not just yun nga, religion, it's about being who you are and ano ba yung purpose natin. And I'm really just touched by yung sharing ni Miss Michelle.
We thank Michelle again for very enlightening and the way she went into the way the organizations function. That's quite impressive, and you can tell immediately from an organization whenever you apply. As soon as you get the employees form, the personal form, the moment you
Uh-huh.
see religion, sex, and all of those things you need to fill up, you know it's not as diverse as they want to be. because they haven't really thought about the entire process. It starts from the very beginning. The moment you join an organization, the moment you
Right.
apply, you
Yeah.
have to spread the message out. You are really authentically diverse, and that's the
Inclusive
call for the
also, right?
times. Yes. So thank you, Sister John and Mother Superior. Thank you very much for your inputs. Our next topic. This one is for my age group, the millennials. And as I mentioned earlier, my 18-year-old son, yes, he said he is an atheist at this point in his life. And a lot of young people are challenging their own beliefs, their own, even their own families' religious beliefs in favor of something more free, more individual centered. And our segment host is a perfect one for this topic. She has a soul. In fact, her name is Sol. She's from the Ramon Abuelis Foundation Incorporated right here in Cebu. Please welcome to talk about the rise of the spiritual millennials in the workplace. Please welcome Sol Gonzalvo. Sol,
Good
good
afternoon, Jovenir. Good afternoon. So happy to be part of this segment for People Manager on Cam. And I won't delay any longer. I'll introduce our main guest for this afternoon. And that's our, from the Pranic Healing Foundation of the Philippines, our a Pranic Healing Educator, Ma'am Marilou Arquero. Ma'am Marilou.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
I'm so
How are
happy to
you?
be.
How are you? You're calling in from where, Ma'am Marilu?
I'm from
I'm in
home.
Cebu.
From yes. So
From
thank you
home,
for
okay.
inviting me here. Yes,
Go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
yes. Okay, so as I
Oh,
was saying, yeah.
okay.
So I
Ma'am
you
Marilu,
could-
sorry, parang there's a delay in the connection, no? But let me start off. Ma'am Marilu, basic question. Let's demystify. What's spirituality and pranic healing? Can you tell us more about that so we can have a better understanding?
Okay, so pranic healing comes from prana. This is a Sanskrit word which means life force. It is also known as chi in Chinese, ki in Japanese, and even in Filipino, likas, lakas. And to illustrate the impact of prana in our life, let me give this analogy of a mobile phone. So even if you have the latest model of the phone, you have to fully charge it in order to maximize the benefit of it. But when the battery gets drained, it doesn't work. Even the features, they won't work. So our body is like that phone, and prana is battery. So when our personal batteries are fully charged, so we are stronger, there's more energy to achieve greater work. But when the personal battery gets drained, so we are more prone to stress. And when stress and negative emotions accumulate over a period of time, they get stored in the physical body and manifest as illness and other problems, relationship problems, even financial problems. So, pranic healing is a form of energy healing that removes these energetic blocks and uses prana or life force to realign, balance, and harmonize the energy system of the body to heal the body and promote wellness. So, pranic healing is a way of life. So, the approach to spirituality is holistic because aside from this healing technology, we also have meditation, and there's heavy um, component of character building, which is knowing the self, making inner reflections, so that the person will really improve his or her life.
So in the siguro in the millennial speak or in the Gen Z speak, no, that's like the force, parang sa Star Wars, the force within us.
The force.
Is it strong? Yes. So talking about self-awareness, no, what do you think is the state of our millennials now? When we say spirituality, self-awareness, what is your take on that, Mama Rilu?
Um, our millennials are more purpose driven. I believe so. I also know of millennials. Of course, money is important to them when they look for a job, but they also care for companies that would allow them to care for themselves, no self-care. And especially at this time of turmoil, the world is in pain. What is happening now, it's hard to understand in terms of our ordinary human mind. Our millennials are submitting and accepting that there is a higher purpose, there is a higher being that they could connect to. And you see them even in their posts. They pray for this, pray for that. They organize and they initiate prayer activities for the healing of the world. Now, I heard that millennials now, they tend to be atheists. I also have encountered millennials, people who told me bluntly, I don't believe in God, I'm an atheist. And I just smiled and probed. And it turned out that this boy was educated in Catholic schools, in a Catholic upbringing through and through. And these people are searching, millennials are searching, who is this God? Is God really out there just waiting to punish and judge us for our wrongdoings? So in spirituality, especially in pranic healing, the God within, we talk about the God within. And so that has brought a lot of comfort to them, that they don't even need to change religion, etc., because we are inclusive. So everyone is made in the image and likeness of God, regardless of race, nationality, regardless of economic standing, regardless of religion. So I so believe that millennials are ripe in terms of cultivating spirituality at even deeper levels.
How is this practiced in organizations and also with your experience, Mama Marilu, honing the spirituality of millennials in the workplace setting? Can you share about that?
Oh, let me share with you some of the practices that companies have. I saw how it has worked for them. So they spark spirituality programs, offer alternative methods ranging from meditation, um, discussion groups on deeper topics like kindness, generosity, honesty, gratitude, and using the discretionary time for employees. There's a huge difference in terms of the energy of the organization. They were able to address absenteeism, tardiness, the the awareness that I'm here in this company not just to take but also to give. So that is a spiritual act. And if we could bring them to the deeper awareness of who they truly are, that's a very good practice. That's a very good program. Because when you to tap millennials for projects like this community pantry, it's easy to mobilize them. So what will make them act spontaneously? What will make them act spontaneously? It's the awareness of who they are. So that's a very important program that many companies have also adapted programs like that, because what what why are there problems in organizations when you lose sight of who you are? So when you're attached to the body. So here we also teach that I am not this body, but I am a soul having this human experience, and as such, the soul's purpose is to expand, to grow, to evolve, and that could happen by serving others. So service is a very important component of spirituality for millennials.
I like what you said about understanding the self first so that they can better also serve and experience that spirituality and be of service to others. I like how you also said, Mama Rilu, no, na being more conscious about purpose. I think that's very, very much strong in millennials, and acknowledging that there's a God within, no, and that giving importance to the self the calling of the self, the purpose. Wow, that's quite deep. But I'm a curiosity now, and probably also for the others working in the companies, no, how do we create that culture of creating an environment, no, where we allow our employees, our team members, our staff to just be aware of themselves, what they can contribute, how they can be of service. Because it seems like some managers have a discomfort about engaging in conversation that will now start talking about how are you, what about spirituality, all the more. How can we have that culture, that conversation on improving the awareness, no, promoting self-awareness for our staff.
You know, and as I have found out, as I've experienced with companies who have adopted spirituality in the workplace, it really starts with the leadership team. So a lot of the leadership teams have asked for orientation sessions on spirituality, pranic healing, energy awareness, because that awareness that everything is energy. My thoughts, my words, these are energies that affect people around me. So that's a very powerful concept, knowledge to know and to practice and to harness in organizations. And how can I hurt you? How can I just gossip about you? How can I, you see, and we also talk about universal principles that are spoken about in the workplace today. The law of cause and effect, the law of quality, like attracts like. So it starts, if I may say, with the leadership team, and everyone is in the journey. Everyone is in the journey because we are all human evolving. We are all human becoming. No one is perfect. For so long as we buy into this new concept, this new way of, not concept even, this new way of being, of living, that my material and spiritual success, they are not separate, but they are one and the same. So that's a very good start.
Mhm. So the leadership team really has a big role, and my imagination is that, especially when they enter the boardroom or there's like a big team meeting, no, and then imagine if the leader comes in and starts saying, "Okay, guys," because a leader has energy awareness. The leader will say, "Okay, guys, my energy is low today. No, maybe that declaration, no, allows for everyone to also have a sense of empathy for the leader, and it's a role modeling as well, right, for the team members to say, if my leader is able to express that in a safe environment, then I should be able to also express my state of energy. I like that state
Yes.
of energy. And the emphasis also I like about kindness, no, is really also spreading that positive energy, that empathy for the team. How can you hurt others if you know the impact of your energy to the rest? My other question is that when we say energy as well, we know millennials know high energy. How do we harness that energy as well towards more productivity, or maybe more of a CSR or service oriented activities for the team? I like you mentioned earlier, using discretionary time, allowing staff to use discretionary time for perhaps volunteerism or purpose discovery events, activities. What are other ideas there, Ms. Marilou?
You know, as I have experienced it, and I have seen that even in organizations that they have their own CSR programs, they have foundations, it's the millennials that they tap. Oh, it's already embedded in them that they want to participate, that they want to be counted, especially when this will benefit a larger whole. That's all. That the seed is. That's why I said they are aware and they are right for this.
And it's very natural for the millennials, no,
Very
because you already
natural.
developed them. the yearning for purpose and being able to contribute. So, Miss Marilou, tell us more about how we can learn more about pranic healing, your organization, what programs are out there, so we can learn more about it. Basically, energy awareness. No, that's really the curiosity. My curiosity.
I have given Mackie the but the Pranic Healing Foundation of the Philippines, our office is located in Ortigas. So we conduct courses. In fact, this week and tomorrow and Sunday, I'm conducting a basic course on pranic healing. So we talk about the anatomy of the energy body, the energy centers, chakras, and how you can heal yourself. That is very important, to be able to heal yourself and heal people distantly also. So we have this what do you call this, in local foundation, the Pranic Healing Foundation of the Philippines.
So, what? Just a curiosity lang. What is a basic seminar on pranic healing? What happens? What happens in there? What goes
After
on?
after attending the basic pranic healing class, you will already learn how to heal your loved ones, how to heal yourself, even people who are not with you, because we have distant healing protocols also, which was a very, we did that for COVID patients distantly, and we will now
Wow.
introduce the meditation on, yeah, that's our contact numbers and how you could get in touch with us. So
Wow. Very useful at this time when we seem to be very much apart, no, with our loved ones, even work from home na tayo. So when working up, when we seem to be disconnected, no, from our workmates and from our families, no, especially for those working remotely. And this is very helpful when you say that there is a way to actually get to actually help people heal, no? through their energy, through strategies, approaches, tools that pranic healing can offer. There is a question here. Some people feel that learning how to heal takes away from their faith. Is this true? Parang the self healing takes
um,
away my being faithful, no? It takes away from my faith. What do you think about that?
when you talk about pranic healing, you use prana, no? You use prana, which is found in nature, from the air, from the sun, from the ground, and these are all gifts of God. And in pranic healing, we emphasize that the healer is not the healer. The healer just channels the healing, and the ultimate healer is God. God is the ultimate healer. And whenever we heal, we really pray a lot. We invoke a lot so that our healing is more effective. So, and pranic healing is not also about religion. That's what I also want to emphasize, because people also, hey, are you about to set up your own, organize your own religion? No, this is science and spirituality. You talk about science, quantum physics, energy, that's quantum physics, that's science. So to that question, I understand, but ultimately, I am a Catholic, and I have, before pranic healing, I was a lapsed Catholic. I became an even better Catholic. My devotions, my prayers, my rosaries are even more meaningful, and more. I became more devotional as I learned pranic healing.
Wow, thank you, Miss Marilu. We really, you really picked our imagination there about not being the healer, no, but really just being a channel to heal others through the energy that flows through us, and that is such a beautiful metaphor, no. Especially at this time when we really need to be resilient ourselves, and to also help others become resilient themselves with all of these things, no, all of these challenges that are going through around us. And yeah, we encourage all of those joining us this afternoon to please check out the web pages, no, the social media pages of the Pranic Healing Foundation of the Philippines. Thank you, Ma'am Marilou. Um,
Thank you so much. It is
I'm getting
really
a
my
lot of good energy as well from you.
thank you. God bless you all. God bless us all. Thank you.
Thank you. And we now go back to John and Sir Job.
Thank you so much, Saul. So it will just be me. Jov is
Oh,
for a
okay.
few minutes for the PMAP Cebu. So thank you. I really like what Ms. Marilou said about the millennials, giving importance to service and to meaning. My kids are millennials. I work with a lot of millennials. So they demand a lot from their leaders. They want what they hear you say, they want to see it on what you're doing as well. That's what I picked up from your discussion with Ma'am Marilu. How about you, Sol?
I like the energy part. No, first the energy awareness, and that my thoughts, my words, how I act is a form of energy that I also transmit, so that others will also be affected by it. No, parang napaka simple way of really it's a metaphor to me, but it's really powerful also to remind me that simple thoughts, words, actions affect others at this time. And it's important to have positive energy to help let that hope grow, no? Not just with ourselves, but also the others.
True, true. Thank you so much, Sol. That was a very insightful discussion. So, before we go to our next segment, I just want to say hello to our viewers who sent in their messages in our comment section. So we have Earl, we have Carl, Sir Obadil is also here saying good afternoon. Eden is watching from Laguna State Polytechnic University all the way sa Calabarzon region. So Ethel is also here. And of course, Gilbert is also here. So do send in your questions or your comments, and we would love to know what is in your mind. And also those who want to be show sponsors, call Mackie. Her number is shown on your screen. And we would love to know how we can partner with you through our show. All right, so we will go to our last segment, Break Your Heart. We will talk about the tales of the power of faith. I welcome our segment host, the Assistant Manager of Talent Management ASEAN and also Philippines, Micah Orsenado. Micah, over to you.
Hello, good afternoon, Joanne. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Maika Iriberi Orsenado, and I'll be your host for the Perk Your Heart segment. So today we will talk about faith and the powerful stories that goes with it. So I believe everyone has their own story to share, and imagine how transformative your life will be when you give your complete trust or confidence in someone or to God when to do something. All right, and I'm so excited to share and to introduce our guest today. Okay, so it is my pleasure and honor to introduce our special guest. He is a priest of the Archdiocese of Manila. He was ordained by the late Jaime Cardinal Sin in September 1998, and currently he is the chaplain of Landmark and Greenbelt chapels. So let us welcome everyone to the show, Reverend Father Jun Sescon. Welcome, Father.
Hi, Micah. Good afternoon, and to
How are
everyone.
you po?
Yeah,
How are you,
good.
Father?
I'm good. I'm good. Yeah.
Hope
Thank you
hope you
for
are
the
all.
invitation. Yeah.
Yeah, I hope you're safe wherever you are right now. Personally, no, I find the word faith a powerful word because it can change your life, especially when you put it in the faith of God. So, Father, you are the perfect person to share stories about the power of faith. Can you tell us one thing that is most significant to you and to our viewers? Yeah.
Yeah. We have seen in this pandemic a lot of tales and stories. Of course, we have all tragedies and horrors and sadness, but we have also seen stories of faith. No? And this pandemic has also brought out the best in so many people, especially our faith.
Mm-mm.
And personally, that is what I have seen. No? And that's why we see, faith is really seeing light with your heart when all your eyes can see is darkness. And that is faith. No? You see the light. And that's why I've encountered a lot of people. And I know for one, for example, I have a dear friend who is a frontliner. And she was at first dissuaded because her mom was also very weak already, was with her, and she has a family of her own. But she told me that her faith impels her to serve and to reach out. And during the early part of this pandemic, she got COVID-19. And sadly, Her mom also had, and her mom passed on. Her husband also got COVID-19. The whole family was had the sickness. It
Mm-mm.
was a very sad moment for the family. But because of her faith, upon recovery, the first thing she did was to return to serve. No? And
Mhm.
everybody was, even her very close relatives were telling her, "I think you have done your part already, so you should also protect your family, protect your life."
Mhm.
No, but
Mm-mm.
immediately upon recovery, she went back because she says, "That's what I am made by God. I was given by God this talent. She was she had a purpose, a
Mhm.
mission to be a doctor, and that's faith. No? You see the light, even if others see only darkness, and we have seen that to many people. No, I'm sure countless people, those who help organize the pantries, who give
Mhm. Yeah.
to serve, no, without anything in return, even despite all the dangers, the risks. So that is faith. No? And in the end, it's not even about you, no, because if you will just rely on your willingness, you have to admit it will run out, no? Our will to serve, our will to care, especially if you're the one facing tragedies. But if you have faith, that is when you could still draw, no, may huhugutan ka pa, ika nga, no,
Mhm.
huhugutan ka pa ng lakas because you're getting from, not from you, but from someone greater than you are, and that is God. And that is faith. Faith is our anchor to God, so that we cannot perhaps immediately stop the storms, but like an anchor, di ba? The anchor helps the boat stabilize. We cannot stop the storm, but it will not sink the boat. So that's also faith. Yeah.
I like that, Father. I like how you mentioned yung light in your heart during the darkest moment of your life. Kasi at this point, when you feel sobrang down ka na, di ba? Wala ka ng ibang makikita kundi puro negativity. And one thing that is good about faith and religion and about being with God is you can go back anytime. And the part of you sharing and the part of you going back and serving other people, it's really one way of putting your faith back into the system, to your faith, and to everyone. Kaya maganda, that's a nice way to put it, Father. That's a good one. All right, Father. So aside from this, you mentioned difficult challenges, no? What are the tips you can share to our viewers naman for those who are currently handling their own challenges, hindi lang sila makalapit sa inyo, and to anyone who is, like like a priest to help them out and give them tips.
Yeah. That's good, no, Micah, no? I was watching the segments earlier, no, and they were talking about being spiritual and being religious,
Mhm.
and especially to the millennials watching us, that some are allergic to religious, no, being a religious. For them,
Yes.
the trend is to be spiritual, but actually, they don't have to compete, no. In fact, they complement each other, no. But of course, some people think that being religious simply means obeying without thinking, being traditional. But no, being religious is being spiritual, because that's why part of the question that I want to tell people, that you don't have to compete the two, because when you say you are being religious, you are finding God as a person in a relationship. And that's why even Pope Francis would tell us, encounter God. In these moments, encounter God even in your sickness. Perhaps there is those watching us, some of them are sick, some of them are jobless, some of them have emotional problems. Ask in prayer, no, God, what do you want to tell me? No? Because in the end, I know it's hard to believe for some people, but in the end, faith is believing God loves us no matter what happens. That's a big challenge for me when I go to the COVID patients. I have to tell them God loves them. To those who are jobless right now, when they approach me, I also have to tell them God loves them. God does not only love those who are spared from the virus right now. No, kasi
Mhm.
yun yung problem pag nakita mo sa social media. Hashtag feeling blessed. Kasi wala kang sakit, may pera ka pa, Netflix lang ang problema mo. Parang ganon. No,
Inggitan.
God loves everyone. Even right now, those who lost their loved ones, I want to tell them right now, God loves you. Perhaps it's difficult to believe. That's where faith will help us unravel and discover what God wants to tell us during these times of crisis. So if there is something I want to tell all our viewers, believe in that. That's faith. Believe that God loves you, and even if what is happening is not what you expect,
Mhm.
then open your heart and Lord, why am I in this situation right now? Because I believe you love me. So I know, Lord, there is something good that will happen in this.
All right. Thanks, Father. Ang ganda nun. So, I like that, especially for me, I personally agree, no? I put my faith into, I would like to share a quick story lang. I put my faith when I was really putting down talaga, as in when I prayed for peace of mind. And then eventually it came. And then I met the love of my life when I prayed for that peace of mind. I didn't ask for a guy, but peace of mind yung binigay, and that guy that I married now is sobrang peaceful ako and really settled, sabi nga nila, settled down. And when it comes to millennials, kasi feeling they have this idea of being religious is something not in the crowd.
Yeah.
So I think, but I also understand and believe then as well that you need to find God in every situation, diba? Sabi, there's God everywhere. God is everywhere, and God is always there for you and always listening to you. So,
Yeah,
ang
you're
ganda
right.
nun, Father.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, Father, no, before we close this show, can I request for a message to people who are looking and for restoring their faith?
Yeah, no, to everyone, no, and you don't have even to be a Catholic, no, or a Christian, because you also can be. God speaks to you, no, and if you're watching right now, perhaps God intended you to hear us, no, to hear Micah's story. O, kita nyo, no, nakita ka her life, no, and that surprises us, and that's why in the Bible the most frequent command of God is be not afraid. That's the most frequent command of God. Perhaps God knows fear is our number one enemy. That's why the assurance always of God is be not afraid. Be not afraid, not because we will be spared. We just finished Holy Week. No? We are in Easter. Remember, even Jesus was not spared of the cross, but God redeemed that situation. So be not afraid, not because we will be spared, but be not afraid because God can turn something good. No? Even the worst things can be transformed by God. So be not afraid. And last, be full of hope. No? Sabi nga, I read somewhere, yung ibig sabihin daw ng hope ay hold on, pain ends.
Wow.
Pain ends. Not because it will just come to an end, the virus will die out. No, because we have a God who will put an end to all this pain. So to all our watchers and listeners, keep that hope alive. No? Hold on. Pain ends.
Thank you, Father. That's a nice message to everyone. And for those, I hope for our viewers, who are listening right now, sana marami kayo natutunan from Father June. And I know, have hope. Sabi nga niya, and do not fear. Sabi nga nila, first step, always take the first step kasi that's the first sign of you losing your fear and putting faith in the hands of God. So thank you, Father June. So
Thank
that's
you.
it. Thank you, Father. So that's
Thank
it
you.
for that's
Good.
it for today's Break Your Heart. My name is Micah Iriberry Orsenado, and bringing back to you again to Joanne.
Thanks a lot, Micah. I would love to have a longer conversation with you to know
Me
more about your
too.
love story. Yeah, actually, diba? I have also seen your pictures. A beautiful wedding. Yeah, we should talk more about that. Of course, the faith and the journey. I think would really be a fantastic story. I like what Father June said. Be not afraid. Actually, me personally, I'm a Christian. I like Exodus 14:14 and also Psalms 46:10. be still and know that I am God. That's also what I always hold on to. So that was a very nice sharing from Father June.
Father June. Yeah, sobrang ganda din. Perfect din because especially for us, we often think that fear really stops wherever you want to go. But sometimes you just have to be strong and take the leap of faith, sabi nga nila, diba? So that is just perfect yung sinabi ni Father June.
True, true. Thank you so much, Micah. All right, so we are at the end now of our show. That was very quick. So I loved our topics for this April episode. We talked about religious diversity in the workplace with attorney Manny Casino. We had Michelle, a very wonderful conversation about spirituality and religiosity at workplace on how we can be inclusive. And then, of course, we had Miss Marilou Arquero. We talked about the rise of spiritual millennials in organizations, and Father June, who talked about hope. I will not forget that. Tales of the power of faith. Thank you so much to our guest. I will now call on all our segment hosts. We have Cecile, Joan, Saul, and Micah. So, and then of course, Jove. Is Jove back with us now?
Yes.
There. All right. So, how was the show? What were your insights this afternoon? Cecile?
For me, watching the show unfold really strengthens my appreciation of individuality. You know, listening to everyone. And this is just but the tip of the iceberg. So many of us have so many different beliefs, so many takes on spirituality as well, right? And on religion. And yes, there's so many religions out there as well. And it's okay to have different religions. It's when I listen to all of our guests talking, I'm just appreciating all of the different kinds and ways that we draw our sense of purpose from, diba? Um, and it's each one is just I'm just overwhelmed. It's just beautiful to listen to each one of them and understanding that we are who we are. We move forward the way we do, and we are inspired, driven, and we find our happiness, successes, and bring happiness and joy to others in our own special ways, holding on to what we believe in.
Thanks a lot, Cecile. Joan?
Thank you. I agree with Cecil, no? For me naman, the biggest insight from this episode is us as human beings, we can use these tools, no? Just to be the best version of ourselves. And while we become the best versions of ourselves, we must not forget to share ourselves with others. No, we have that sense of purpose. But then after that, we share ourselves. Let us um, not limit ourselves to the current scope, but may act of service also, as one of our guests has shared, no. And there's also mutual respect for other people na hindi natin katulad, but we're all humans, and that in itself makes us sane in terms of being human beings.
Thanks a lot, Joan.
Well,
Hi, Saul. What were your thoughts?
So for me, really two things that stood out. First, I was very much comforted when Mom Marilou said that millennials are right for spirituality and that it's a matter of harnessing the energy that the millennials have, their sense of contribution, their need for purpose, and to be part of a team, not to contribute. And yeah, I think the challenge for us people managers is to harness that energy. And the second one, talking about energy, is really that all of us need to be aware of our own energies because we can really affect others by the energy that we are exuding with our thoughts, our words, our actions. And me myself, now I'm now more conscious now. Oh no, what kind of energy am I bringing out to the team, or when I am in a group? So that is and that is within our control. What comfort not to hear that. and we have tools, strategies to help us be more aware of our energy and its impact on others. Those are my two unforgettable takeaways for this episode.
Thanks a lot, Sol. Can we hear from you, Micah?
Yes, for me, just one. It's very recent from Father. It's hold on, pain ends. It's very applicable also for us HR managers. Kasi tandaan natin matatapos ditong mga issues natin sa virus and everything related to the workplace. Eventually, this will end. So hold on, kapit lang, sabi nga nila. So I think that's very important for us and even for HR and to our team as well to keep on bigay me positive vibes, sabi nga nila, to all. So that's it for me. So thank you.
Right, right. I loved what Michelle said about love unconditionally and lead with compassion. So those were my takeaways. Jove, over to you.
Yeah, I went through panic healing just now because of
Panic.
Yeah, panic healing. And the thing is,
I know it, Joe.
Father Jun said it best when he said that religiosity and spirituality do not have to compete. Both can coexist, and in fact, they can complement each other. And so I think that settles the argument whether we should be this and that. The most important thing is how we live our lives and that we remain true to the universal values of love. So yeah, those are. It's so difficult to be serious, by the way. So in fact, I'm still going through panic. Yeah. And for those of you who are wondering why we've exceeded our usual 1 hour for the show, it's because we're now at an hour and a half for PM on Cam. So for those of you who want to join us as sponsors, please do check and send an email to Mackie Cordero. That's mackie.cordero@pmap.org.ph. And once again, on behalf of this wonderful team, and by the way, if you want the silent version of this, check out the People Manager magazine online, which will be released. And I hope that you've subscribed. This will be released this Monday. This coming May, let's celebrate mothers in the workforce, in the workplace, and that's for May. Once again, thank you to all the segment hosts, Joanne, the rest of the team, Sarah, and of course Mackie, and to all of you who take time every month to join us. There will be a replay for this so we can re-watch and once again be enlightened with our speakers. See you next month. Thank you. On behalf of PMAP, maraming salamat po.
I know you know. You've seen it, experienced it, affected by it. Of course, it's hard. But this is an invitation to change it, to bounce back, to feel the inspiration. Masyado ka nang apektado para tumigil pa. Ngayon, oras na para sa mas mataas na antas ng pagbabalik at pagbabago. The hashtag business better than usual. Oo naman, aangat ka, aangat tayo. Buong Luzon, Visayas at Mindanao, kaisa sa pagbangon at pagbabago. The 58th PMAP Annual Conference, Angat, leading people to higher ground. Be the soul of change. Be the driver of encouragement. Be the fuel of moving forward. Angat, leading people to higher ground. The 58th PMAP Annual Conference. Dahil mas personal na ang trabaho ngayon.